Welcome. Each week, I introduce you to another one of the terrific personal life and career experts that I feature in my book, Tweak It. And this week, I am happy to welcome Denise Brown, who is the founder of caregiving.com. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about caregiving.com?
Okay, it's a wonderful community of family caregivers. And a family caregiver is someone who's caring for someone with a chronic illness. So we have those who are caring for parents, grandparents, spouses, children, siblings, friends, you name it. It's anyone who is caring for another. And what we do on the website is share stories and support and solutions. You can join the site and create a free account. You can join our online support groups. We have a community journal. We have a community events about getting fit, taking care of yourself. So it's a great place to connect with others who are in a similar situation, because when you're in caregiving, you can feel like you're alone. We want to make sure you know you're not.
That's great, and you're so right. I think so many caregivers I meet in the workplace do feel like they are alone. So
absolutely.
So, Denise, since we are focusing specifically on what people can do before they have family caregiving obligations, because I think it's important to differentiate between before and once you're in it, and when would someone want to prepare in advance for family caregiving as part of their busy everyday work-life fit?
Because often it starts as a crisis. And once it starts, it's hard to go back. You can't go back and ask questions. You can't go back and gather information. Once it starts, it's just like all of a sudden you're in the middle of a marathon. So if you can prepare before, you will feel so much better. Not that you're going to feel great when it starts, but you're going to be in a much better position. There's actually a concept I developed which is called the Caregiving Year, 6 Stages to a Meaningful Journey. And the very first stage is the expectant caregiver. So it hasn't happened, but you're looking into the future. And I would encourage everyone to realize that it's not something that happens to someone else. It's going to be something that happens in your family. It could be a spouse, it could be a parent, grandparent. Someone's going to be diagnosed with a chronic illness. They're going to turn to you, and then you're going to say, okay, we can do this. Before you can say that, though, it's good to know some key information. And you can never know this information too soon. It's great information for all of us to share, and that is, how do we envision the end of our life? Where do we want to be? Who do we want to be with? What are our wishes for end-of-life care? Those are great wishes to know. And actually, Cali, it's for all of us to know. There's also a really important document that all of us really need, and that is a durable power of attorney for healthcare and finances. And it is a document that actually appoints someone to make decisions on behalf of, if you can't, on behalf of you, for legal and financial and healthcare decisions. So when I was 48, I asked 2 of my brothers to be a durable power of attorney for me. So I have a brother who is a CPA, so I appointed him power of attorney to manage my finances in case I can't. And then I asked my other brother to make decisions about healthcare, my health, in case I can't. So since it's a document that we all really require, but most of us don't have, this is a great way to say to the aging relatives in your family, parents, grandparents, in-laws, I heard about this document, something we all need. I don't have it. You don't have it. Let's get to the lawyer's office and get all of this paperwork figured out. When you have something like a durable power of attorney, it makes everything so much easier when caregiving starts, especially because you don't have to worry about getting that. You've already got it. So when you're in the healthcare system, which is very confusing anyway, you have this really important piece of paper that allows you to make decisions, be part of conversations about decisions. It's so much easier. So I would really encourage that. The other part of it is, oh, go ahead, Kelly.
No, what I love about what you've said is that's a perfect tweak. Because really, and I want to I'm always trying to break this down for people, because when we hear family caregiving, it can seem so big and scary. And what you're saying is, okay, one of your tweaks for this week is you're going to go and get a durable power of attorney. And even if that means you're going to even break it down further, which is I'm going to call the attorney, get on their schedule to go meet them at another time. So this is where the tweaking of a responsibility like family caregiving really does help you get set. And if you do it over time, you create that foundation that's going to help you be more successful as you go along.
And if you are employed by a corporation that has something like an EAP or a work-life benefit, actually start there with your tweak. Give that organization a call, and you could call Saturday morning and say, I'm looking for a referral to an attorney to help create a durable power of attorney. If you have an EAP or a work-life benefit, sometimes part of that benefit is consultations with attorneys. So right there, you've got a referral and perhaps a benefit that will offset the costs.
That's terrific. That's great.
And if you do that now, you get in that habit of calling for help, because you're going to have to call for help in caregiving. And it's if you're not used to it, it is a place of vulnerability that feels so uncomfortable, because you think, how am I going to call for help?
Yeah.
It's just a tough situation. So if you can actually start getting used to that now, you'll also be in better shape when you're really going to be calling for help.
That is a great, great point. So, Denise, where do you see people struggle with this the most? Is it the difficulty of asking for help? Is it that they don't know this is coming, so they don't prepare? What do you think the biggest struggle is that you see?
It's interesting because there's so many struggles in this. I think part of it is the preparation, not having basic information. So that durable power of attorney, it's so helpful to have that. An idea of finances, now that's tough because you're talking about something that's very private. And family members, I know if I said to my parents, hey, how much money do you have?
Oh gosh, that's painful to even think about.
You can imagine what they would say to me.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about my family is that my brother, the CPA, does my parents' taxes. So he's aware of my parents' financial situation. We don't ask him about it, but we know that he knows. And what's helpful about that is that you have an idea of the amount of money that's available to pay for care. Because the biggest misconception in caregiving is that there are government programs that will step in and offset the costs of care. It doesn't happen.
Denise, can you repeat that, please, for the viewing population? Because I'm telling you, this is the biggest misconception, problem, horror. Okay, please repeat.
The government does not have programs that will offset the costs of care. There are very limited benefits available through Medicare. And when we turn 65, we are eligible for Medicare, which is the federal insurance program. If you have a low income, you could be eligible for Medicaid. And there are programs through Medicaid that often pay for home care. However, you have to qualify. And again, your income level has to be low. So for all of us, and really 99% of us, we're going to pay for our own care. And so are our parents. And so to have an idea of what the budget available to pay for care will be helpful. So as your colleagues, friends, other family members go through this experience of caregiving, I would say just pay attention to who's going through it now, what they say about it, what programs they use. Just kind of think, okay, I'm going to file that away. I'm going to remember that, because Cousin Susie could be a resource for you when you're really looking for help for your parents, trying to figure out, how do we afford this? Who do we use? How do we do this? So that would be my other tweak. Just kind of be paying attention to who's already doing it, because they're going to be a great resource for you.
And more people who surround you will be doing this. They really, really will. I always feel like I sound very alarmist about this, but it's really true.
That's the truth. You're not raising a red flag in the desert saying there's no water when you're actually not in the desert. There's all kinds of water around you. It's really coming. Yes,
it's coming. And it's probably already here.
Yes. And what's interesting is I started working with family caregivers in 1990. And the difference between 1990 and 2012 in terms of programs and services available is very little. Mm-hmm. But the difference is you will find people who understand what you're going through now, versus in 1990, you were really alone in the experience because your neighbors, your coworkers, other family members didn't understand what it's like. So those are going to be the resources for you, those who have done it already. They're going to be able to really share a lot of helpful tips for you.
So Denise, let me recap. What I've heard so far is that, we need to get the legal document support to make all this much, much easier in advance.
Yes.
We need to try to artfully and comfortably get a sense of the financial resources that are available to provide the care.
Yes.
And because it's super important, mostly because there really are no other resources than what you and your family will be able to provide. And another good tweak is just listen. And if you know somebody that you work with or another member of your family that has had family caregiving responsibilities, just pay attention to what they're doing, what resources that they are using. You offer some wonderful specific tweaks in the book, and also on the tweakittogether.com website, there's a bonus tweak from Denise, as well as a link to caregiving.com. But anything else, any other small step you think somebody should take in order to prepare themselves in advance for family caregiving?
I would say, and it sounds like it's going to be a big step, but I would say just focus on, in essence, keeping your act together, so to speak. So the tweaks that you have in the book are really about us getting organized in our life. And when you get organized in your life now, when caregiving comes, you'll have a habit of organization. And that's going to be really helpful for you. So take advantage of the period now before caregiving to do things like get your finances in order, pay down your debt, find out that workout routine that actually works for you, make healthy choices with your diet, have good relationships around you, because all of that is really going to be helpful once caregiving starts. So tweak it now, because those tweaks are going to be invaluable to you later.
And then I have to say, if you go to your site, you have wonderful resources specifically related to caregiving while you're in it.
Yes.
To help you continue all of that work-life fit management in the midst of caregiving, which I think is really, really very important. So Denise, we've talked about how other people can manage family caregiving in their everyday work-life fit. I'm curious what you do. What small ways do you manage the fit between your busy work and life?
So a couple things I do. I schedule light days for myself on Fridays. So I manage a community which Essence doesn't sleep. So I could be up all night working too. So I do have a tendency to work a lot. However, I do give myself breaks during the week. And one of those are Fridays. So I have a tendency not to schedule things like conference calls, meetings, talk shows. If I'm going to do something on Friday, it is a networking meeting like coffee. So I feel like it's easy to do. I don't have to prepare for it. So I have light days on Fridays. And the other thing I do is I take advantage of my downtime. So if I have a lighter Thursday, for instance, I have a friend who has flex time. And if she has a Thursday off, we'll get together on a Thursday. So I don't look at Saturdays and Sundays as my only opportunities to take time off. Mm-hmm. I look for it throughout the week. Is there time on a Monday afternoon? Could I take Tuesday morning off? So today, it's Martin Luther King Day. My sister works full time. Her children had the day off today. And I love to spend time with my niece and nephews. So I asked my sister if I could come to her house today and kind of work a little bit, but hang out with them. So that's what I'm doing. Oh. So it was really, So I'm able to be flexible about that and look for opportunities. What do I want to do with time off that's meaningful to me? And then I make it happen.
That's wonderful. So before I let you go, Denise, this has been terrific. And thank you very much for sharing your wisdom about family caregiving. I hope this has inspired people to begin to see that they can take the small steps today. Just tweak it.